Most people over 60 who take vitamins and supplements feel good about it. They feel like they are doing something right, something proactive, something that their doctor probably approves of. And in many cases, they are right. Vitamins and supplements, when chosen carefully and taken appropriately, can genuinely support health in older adults. But there's something that almost nobody talks about when the conversation turns to vitamins. And that is this: the combination of vitamins you take matters just as much as the individual vitamins themselves. And certain combinations that millions of seniors put in their bodies every single morning without a second thought are not just ineffective, they are actively working against each other, or in some cases, creating effects that no individual supplement was intended to cause. I am Dr. Daniel Chen, and today I want to walk you through 5 specific vitamin and supplement combinations that people over 60 should be aware of. What happens when these combinations are taken together? Why the body responds the way it does, and what to do instead to make sure that the supplements you are taking are actually working for you rather than against you. Now, before I go through the list, I want to say something clearly. I am not telling you to stop taking vitamins. I am not telling you that supplements are dangerous. What I am telling you is that timing, combination, and dose matter far more than most people realize. And that after 60, when the body processes things differently, when kidney and liver function are not quite what they were, and when many people are also taking prescription medications that can interact with supplements, getting this right matters more than ever. So let us go through the 5 combinations that I want you to know about. The first combination is calcium and iron taken together. Now, both of these are among the most commonly recommended supplements for older adults. Calcium for bone health, iron for energy and anemia prevention. Both are genuinely important nutrients that many people over 60 are deficient in. But here's the problem. Calcium and iron compete for the same absorption mechanism in the gut. When you take them together, they go head to head in the small intestine for the same transport proteins that carry them across the intestinal wall and into the bloodstream. And calcium wins almost every time. Calcium, particularly in the form of calcium carbonate, which is the most common form in supplements, very significantly reduces the absorption of iron when taken at the same time. Research has shown that taking calcium and iron together can reduce iron absorption by as much as 50 to 60%, which means that if you are taking iron specifically because your doctor told you your iron levels are low, and you are taking it alongside your calcium supplement, you may be absorbing less than half of the iron you think you are getting, which means your iron deficiency is not being corrected the way your doctor intended. And yet you and your doctor may not realize this because nobody specifically told you not to take them together. The solution to this one is simple. Separate them by at least 2 hours. Take iron in the morning on an empty stomach with a glass of water, or better still, with a small amount of vitamin C, which significantly enhances iron absorption. And take your calcium supplement at a completely different time of day with a meal. This simple change dramatically improves the effectiveness of both without any change to which supplements you are taking or how much, just when. The second combination is vitamin D and vitamin K2. Now this one is different because unlike the calcium and iron combination, where the problem is competition, the problem with taking vitamin D without vitamin K2 is that one creates a need that the other must meet. And when the other is not there, real problems can develop. Let me explain. Vitamin D, when taken as a supplement, significantly increases the absorption of calcium from food and supplements into the bloodstream. This is one of the primary reasons vitamin D is so important for bone health. It gets calcium into the blood where it can be directed to the bones. But here is where it gets complicated. Calcium in the blood needs to be directed to the right places, specifically to the bones and teeth, rather than to the wrong places, specifically the soft tissues, the arteries, the heart valves, the kidneys. And this direction, this critical routing of calcium to bones rather than arteries, is the job of vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 activates specific proteins in the body, including a protein called osteocalcin, which anchors calcium into bone tissue, and a protein called matrix GLA protein, which actively removes calcium from the walls of blood vessels and prevents it from depositing there. When vitamin D is adequate and vitamin K2 is also adequate, this system works beautifully. Calcium gets into the blood, gets routed to the bones, and is actively kept out of the arterial walls. But when vitamin D is supplemented without adequate vitamin K2, calcium absorption increases, but the routing system is impaired because there is not enough K2 to direct that calcium to where it should go and to keep it out of where it should not. The result is a potential accumulation of calcium in soft tissues, including arterial walls, which contributes to arterial calcification, the hardening of arteries that increases cardiovascular risk. Research published in multiple cardiovascular journals has found associations between high vitamin D supplementation without adequate vitamin K2 and arterial calcification in older adults. Now, this does not mean vitamin D is dangerous. Vitamin D is genuinely important, and deficiency is extremely common in adults over 60. What it means is that if you are supplementing vitamin D, particularly at higher doses of 2000 IU or above, making sure you are also getting adequate vitamin K2 is an important consideration. Vitamin K2 is found naturally in fermented foods, particularly natto, a fermented soy product, and in smaller amounts in hard cheeses, egg yolks, and grass-fed dairy and meat. But most older adults are not getting adequate K2 from food alone, and supplements containing both vitamin D and K2 are widely available and represent a more complete approach to bone and cardiovascular health than vitamin D alone. If you are currently taking vitamin D, ask your doctor whether adding vitamin K2 to your supplement regimen makes sense for your situation. The third combination is vitamin E and blood thinners or anticoagulant medications, including warfarin, apixaban, and rivaroxaban, as well as aspirin, which many older adults take daily. For cardiovascular protection, vitamin E in high doses, specifically above 400 IU per day, has blood-thinning properties of its own. It inhibits platelet aggregation and interferes with certain clotting factors in ways that, when combined with medications that are already intentionally thinning the blood, can push the blood-thinning effect too far. For people taking warfarin specifically, high-dose vitamin E has been shown to significantly increase the INR, which is the measure of how thin the blood is, to levels that substantially increase the risk of serious bleeding, including internal bleeding and bleeding in the brain. The risk is real enough that major clinical guidelines specifically recommend that patients on warfarin or other anticoagulant medications avoid high-dose vitamin E supplementation. Now, vitamin E in the amounts found naturally in food and in standard multivitamins is not a concern. The issue is with high-dose standalone vitamin E supplements of 400 IU and above, which are sold widely and taken by many older adults who believe high-dose antioxidants are broadly beneficial. If you are taking any blood-thinning medication, including daily aspirin, and you are also taking a vitamin E supplement, please mention this to your doctor at your next appointment and ask specifically whether the dose you are taking is appropriate given your other medications. The fourth combination is zinc and copper taken together, or more accurately, zinc taken without adequate copper. Zinc is an important mineral for immune function, wound healing, taste and smell, and several other body processes. And deficiency is not uncommon in older adults. So zinc supplementation is genuinely appropriate for many people over 60. But here is what most people who take zinc supplements do not know. Zinc and copper are antagonists in the body. They compete for the same absorption mechanism in the gut. And zinc, when taken in supplemental doses, particularly doses of 25 milligrams and above, significantly inhibits the absorption of copper. When zinc is taken long-term without attention to copper status, it can produce copper deficiency. And copper deficiency in older adults is a seriously under-recognized condition with serious consequences. Copper is essential for the function of the nervous system, for red blood cell production, for iron metabolism, and for the maintenance of the myelin sheath, the protective covering around nerve fibers. Copper deficiency causes the condition called myeloneuropathy, which produces symptoms including weakness in the legs, difficulty walking, balance problems, numbness and tingling, and in severe cases, significant neurological disability. These symptoms are frequently attributed to aging, arthritis, peripheral neuropathy, or vitamin B12 deficiency without anyone checking copper levels or connecting them to the zinc supplement that the person has been taking for years. Copper deficiency from zinc supplementation is a well-recognized clinical entity in neurological and gastroenterological medicine, but it is almost entirely unknown to the general public, including the many older adults who are currently taking zinc supplements in doses high enough to deplete copper over time. If you take a zinc supplement, ask your doctor to check your copper level, particularly if you have been taking zinc for more than a few months, and particularly if you have noticed any weakness, balance changes, or neurological symptoms that have not been clearly explained. The appropriate response is not to stop zinc, but to take zinc in a formulation that includes copper in an appropriate ratio, typically 1 to 2 milligrams of copper for every 25 to 30 milligrams of zinc, or to separate them and ensure adequate copper from food sources, including shellfish, nuts, seeds, and legumes. The fifth combination is fish oil and vitamin E, or any other blood-thinning supplements taken together with anticoagulant medication. Fish oil, omega-3 fatty acids in high doses, particularly above 3 grams per day, has blood-thinning properties that I have already discussed in the context of cardiovascular health in a previous video. And these blood-thinning properties are one of the reasons that omega-3 supplementation is broadly recommended for cardiovascular health in moderate doses. But when high-dose fish oil is combined with vitamin E, which also has blood-thinning properties, the combined antiplatelet effect of both supplements can become significant. And when this combination is then also taken alongside anticoagulant medication or even daily aspirin, the cumulative blood-thinning burden on the body can push the effect into a range where bleeding risk becomes a genuine concern. This is particularly important in older adults, for whom bleeding risk is already higher due to the natural fragility of blood vessels with age, the reduced elasticity of arterial walls, and the higher likelihood of being on one or more medications that already affect clotting, the risk of serious bleeding events, including gastrointestinal bleeding, and in the most serious cases, intracranial bleeding is real. In older adults who are on multiple blood-thinning agents, both prescription and supplement-based, simultaneously. Now, let me be clear. A standard dose of fish oil of 1 to 2 grams per day for most people over 60 who are not on anticoagulants is generally considered safe and genuinely beneficial for cardiovascular and brain health. The concern is with higher doses, and specifically with the combination of high-dose fish oil, high-dose vitamin E, and anticoagulant or antiplatelet medication taken simultaneously, without your doctor knowing about all of them. This is the most important point of this entire section. Your doctor needs to know about every supplement you take, not just every medication.
Because supplements, particularly at the doses available over the counter, can have meaningful pharmacological effects that interact with your medications in ways that your doctor cannot account for if they do not know you are taking them. Now, let me bring all 5 of these combinations together and give you a practical plan for making sure that the supplements you take are actually working for you. The first step is to write down every single supplement you take, every vitamin, every mineral, every herbal product, every protein powder, everything. Include the dose and the time of day you take it. The second step is to bring that complete list to your next doctor's appointment and ask your doctor to review it, specifically looking for known interactions between your supplements and your prescription medications, and known interactions between supplements themselves. This conversation takes perhaps 5 additional minutes in an appointment, but it can reveal combinations that have been working against you for months or years without you knowing. The third step is to separate calcium and iron by at least 2 hours if you take both. Take iron in the morning with vitamin C on an empty stomach, and calcium at a meal later in the day. The fourth step is to ask your doctor whether you should be taking vitamin K2 alongside your vitamin D, particularly if you are taking vitamin D at a dose of 2,000 IU or above. The fifth step is to tell your doctor about any high-dose supplements you are taking, including fish oil above 2 grams, vitamin E above 400 IU, and zinc above 25 milligrams, particularly if you are on any blood-thinning medication or aspirin. The sixth step is to ask your doctor to check your copper level if you have been taking zinc for more than a few months, particularly if you have experienced any unexplained neurological symptoms. Let me bring everything together for you now. 5 common supplement combinations that people over 60 should be aware of. Calcium and iron, taken together, reduces iron absorption by up to 60%. Separate them by at least 2 hours. Vitamin D without vitamin K2 may increase calcium absorption without properly directing calcium away from arterial walls. Consider a combined D and K2 supplement. High-dose vitamin E, taken with blood-thinning medication, can push blood thinning into a range where bleeding risk increases. Tell your doctor about your vitamin E dose. Zinc, taken long-term without attention to copper status, can deplete copper and cause serious neurological symptoms that are frequently misattributed to other causes. Ask your doctor to check your copper level. And high-dose fish oil, combined with vitamin E and anticoagulant medication, creates a cumulative blood-thinning effect that your doctor needs to know about. Supplements are not automatically safe simply because they are available without a prescription and after 60, when the body handles things differently. And when most people are also on prescription medications, getting the combination right and getting your doctor's input is not optional. It is essential. I am Dr. Daniel Chen. If this video gave you information
that you did not have before, please share it with someone over 60 who takes vitamins every day and has never thought about what happens when they take them all together. Subscribe to this channel for weekly videos made with genuine care for older adults who deserve real information about their own health. And leave me a comment below. Tell me which vitamins and supplements you are currently taking and whether you have ever discussed them with your doctor. I read every single comment and I genuinely look forward to hearing from you. Take care of yourself and take care about what you put in your body every single day.